Obviously, Dave here. This is scripted. I mean, I hate to say it. Chick Pot Pie says they are actors, and they all are.
After my video presentation on David Weiss and the entire debacle with Tyler Oliveira, another Logan Paul clone type individual, I received many phone calls, text messages, emails, and support from many people within the Flat Earth community. I greatly appreciate that. We'll get more of that in a little bit, but first off, this was pointed out by one of Eric Dubé's subscribers. As you can see here, Eric Dubé with nearly 200,000 subscribers. Let's take a look here as we scroll down at the very bottom where you see Eric Dubé's favorite videos. And as you can see, my video produced on, again, David Weiss, Tyler Oliveira, and this whole pantomime, it's under Eric Dubé's favorites, which I greatly appreciate. And as the dust settles, more and more people are going to realize who's real and who's not when it comes to Flat Earth. And Jeffrey Daugherty, as you see here, who used to be against Flat Earth, he actually made videos going against Flat Earth that I produced, but he became a Flat Earther himself. Let's take a listen as he watched my video on David Weiss. And the interesting thing is, he's had David Weiss as a guest many, many times on his channel. But after watching my video on David Weiss, he completely buries David Weiss, calls him an actor, and basically states how Flat Earth has been compromised. Let's get right to it.
Well, let's look at this video that RV put out. But it's very interesting. There's some crazy stuff happening in the Flat Earth movement. So let's watch and let's listen.
David Weiss, deep inside the rabbit hole, once again, another hit piece on Flat Earth. No different, as you see here, with this interview, as we all seen, with Logan Paul, and of course, this so-called documentary, Flat Earth, to the Edge and Back. Nothing more than a pantomime, nothing more than, again, a hit piece on Flat Earth with Logan Paul and his nearly 24 million subscribers. Just like what happened with Professor Dave. Another pantomime, as you see here. In this video, 4.2 million views. David Weiss doing his best to make Flat Earth look silly. And unfortunately, this is what's happening. The controlled op that David Weiss is.
It's very interesting because this guy over here on the left that David's talking to, David invited him to his home for a couple of days before the Flatoberfest. And boy, you know, I love Dave, but the investigative reporter in me thinks that it sure looks like these two guys got together to plan what was to take place at Flatoberfest, and Karen B was in on the planning, it looks like. What's his name? The sergeant was in on the planning, it looks like. So it's really confirming my assertions that the Flat Earth movement, as it stands right now, is a bunch of psyopers chasing shekels. So this is Dave having this guy at his home, and we'll see what winds up with this guy a little bit later. And it's interesting. I mean, this guy's got like 4 million, I think. And then you got Logan Paul with, 42 million. So they're definitely chasing numbers any way you look at it. And you had the fiasco with, Professor Dave. This has got 4.2 million views. Our Dave was talking to this Professor Dave, and it was, you know, not really much in the way of substance, but anyway, fast forward to, and here's this Tyler Oliveira. He's got, how many subscribers does Tyler Oliveira have? Tyler Oliveira, 4.33 million subscribers. And this guy just happens to hook up with Dave Weiss. And this guy just happens to show up at Flat Earth or Flatoberfest. And it just happens to happen what happened. And, I mean, they're obviously chasing numbers. And maybe this is just desserts for chasing numbers. Because when you see what happens, it's like, wow, we didn't see that one coming. So let me just play this a little bit and see what happens here.
A piece on his channel with over 600,000 views in just 4 days. And just like previously with David Weiss, doing his best, again, to make Flat Earth look stupid, make it look silly. Let's take a look at this very short clip with Logan Paul. Definitely scripted, to be played out this way to the millions and millions of followers that Logan Paul has.
We don't even have a real picture of the globe. So I don't have a picture of my intestines, but I know they exist.
So you saw that. Dave?
Wow. We don't have a picture of the globe, says Dave. Logan Paul says, I don't have a picture of my intestines either, but I know they're real. And Dave just sits there like he's stumped, licks his lip. When, of course, the obvious answer is, well, Logan, we have pictures of human intestines. We know what they look like. But, obviously, Dave here, this is scripted. I mean, I hate to say it. Chick Pot Pie says they are actors, and they all are. And it almost looks like Dave is an actor, too. I hate to say it. I hate to admit it. I've got to be an objective journalist. And Cynthia said, don't say anything bad about Dave. I love Dave. You know, I've had Dave on many times. But this is a production that Dave's participating in. I don't know why. I can't talk about his motives. I know he sells a lot of apps. But all I'm saying is this is a production. I agree with Chick Pot Pie. They are actors. And let's see how this plays out a little bit. And this is, you know, this weekend at the Flatoberfest. Logan Paul's there with his 40 millions. Jamie Oliveira's there with his 5 millions. And Chick Pot Pie says back in the day we thought reality TV was real. Same thing. Let's see what RV has to say here on this.
David Weiss, no response. Quiet. Like he was owned. And make no mistake about it, this was by intent. This was scripted 100%.
This is reality TV.
And that gets back to this individual again. Tyler Oliveira with more than 4 million subscribers. And David Weiss pushing extra land beyond the ice wall with zero evidence. All he has is a cartoon model. And this is what he's presenting as the so-called flat earther. Basically, I have the new name for these so-called flat earthers. They're fake earthers. They don't care if we live on a globe or if we live on a flat earth. They're in it for the money. And that's what exactly David Weiss is all about. He's about the money. And now let's take a look at Tyler Oliveira's hit piece on Flat Earth, which of course David Weiss is a part of. It's a carbon copy of what Logan Paul did, posing as a flat earther, then just mocks the flat earth. And that's exactly what you see here with, again, Tyler Oliveira doing the same thing, presenting himself as a flat earther just to mock the flat earth. Let's take a look.
They were talking about more land beyond Antarctica. What about this? Whoa. This makes sense. What if we lived here? What if this is where we lived? Right there. These are other ponds with their own suns. He went from Middle America over what they call Antarctica and then found another continent out here.
And that would destroy our whole worldview of reality.
Now, what if there's other civilizations here? What if these are where the controllers of the world live? Okay?
Now watch. These two are acting like this is... I mean, this dude is acting like he's really into it. So Dave is working on this guy. He's really into it, right? Remember, it's all an act. Because keep watching.
What if...
I'm getting chills right now.
Because the reality, your soul is going, yes, listen, right? Get rid of your programmed mind.
Unbelievable. Pushing something he cannot prove once again. Now, while David Weiss talks about the other worlds beyond the ice wall, take a list of this complete debacle. While David Weiss is trying to push his app
this is funny.
On James English, as you see here, based in Scotland, with over 500,000 followers, take a listen to this complete embarrassment by David Weiss. He doesn't even know where Scotland is. What a joke.
Because this is a topic that affects everybody. Where's Scotland? Here, I'll do it. I can go this way. Scotland. Yeah. It's like this, Scotland.
You can't find Scotland. That's a little bit embarrassing. But anyway, let's save Dave from that. And let's get to the main event here. This is at this just past Flatoberfest. And this
Oliveira, once again, as you see
Jamie
here.
Oliveira dude. Here's Karen B. Look at her beaming. She looks like she's so happy that she might even be moist. I shouldn't have said that, but it came to my head, and I couldn't stop it. Sorry, Cynthia. But that's what it looks like. That's what it looks like. And remember, this dude just spent 2 days at Dave's house. And it makes me sad, too, Cynthia. But part of me, the investigative journalist in me, is saying, oh, man, this is juicy. So anyway, let's watch. We'll let RV narrate.
Here with Karen B, who I put it up before, just take a look here. During a so-called Flat Earth meetup doing the Masonic hand signs, as you see her wearing the Masonic fez with this individual. Karen B, while wearing a Masonic hat, doing the 666 sign with the all-seeing eye. As you see her, Mark Sargent.
Why would they be doing this? Why would they have all of these Masonic symbols? Why?
Sargent as well. And you see the Masonic hat as well. So out of all the places there are throughout the United States, all the facilities, all the convention halls, you decide to have a Flat Earth meetup in a Masonic temple, a Shriner's temple. Does that make sense for anybody that's awake, makes up?
That's actually a pretty good point. That's actually a pretty good point. Of all the places they could pick to have a meetup, they have it at a Shriner's hall, a Masonic hall. That brings up some interesting questions, especially with all the Masonic imagery.
Absolutely no sense. How people can't see through this is beyond me if you're involved with truth. And here's Mark Sargent once again, and he's telling you in plain sight who he is working for. And what do you see here?
Why would Mark Sargent be wearing a CIA shirt on the platform at Flatoberfest? Melanie Moran's with us. Why would Mark Sargent be wearing a CIA t-shirt on the platform at Flatoberfest? If I ran Flatoberfest and he showed up with that shirt, I would not have allowed him to be on the platform. I wouldn't. I would say, you can't come up here with that shirt. But anyway, this is just what the Flat Earth movement has become. No, I don't believe we live on a spinning ball, but I am not a Flat Earther. Not anymore. Not after this.
CIA. What does this remind you of? Another goofball, fake Flat Earther, Rob Skiba, who I call Skeebs.
Well, this guy's taking a dirt nap. Maybe. He might have been a psyop himself, but he's the one that really got the Flat Earth movement into the whole Christian identity realm. And he is kind of skeeby. I agree with RV on that. So, and I said good riddance when Skiba died. And after thinking that over and understanding people's sensibilities, I repeat it, good riddance, Skiba's gone.
And again, they're all doing the same thing, mocking real Flat Earthers. This is not funny whatsoever. If you're a real Flat Earther, a real truther, you wouldn't be doing this. And again, I have to really emphasize Mark Sargent with the CIA on the shirt, all in plain sight. Now let's get back to once again with Tyler Oliveira in his interaction. Again, this is a carbon copy of what took place, as you see with Logan Paul. No different. Pretending to be a Flat Earther, just a so-called, quote, troll. The Flat Earthers win this.
So Logan Paul showed up at one of these events pretending that he was going to be, that he was a Flat Earther. And at the end he went, surprise, I don't believe in Flat Earth. And I'm challenging all of you to prove it. So that's what Logan Paul had done. And here's Tyler Oliveira after spending a couple days at Dave Weiss's house. And here he is with Karen B. Again, I'm betting she's moist. Sorry, Cynthia, but I think she probably is. I mean, look at that smile on her face. But anyway.
This is 100% scripted. Let's get right to it.
I feel empowered to be here around all my Flat Earth brethren and sisters right now, so thank you. Secondly, what I wanted to ask was, I have a girlfriend. She's a glober. How can I get my girlfriend to see the light?
It really depends on the circumstances. Does she have a master's degree in anything?
No.
Okay, does she have a bachelor's degree in something?
Yes.
He's in physical science?
No.
She's got a shot. Did she have any family members that used to work in aerospace?
Her grandfather's a NASA scientist.
How old are you?
I'm 23.
Oh, 20. There's so many people out there.
Let me ask you this. Is being a part of this community worth everything? All my friends hate me. My family thinks I'm a fool. My relationship's struggling.
Welcome to the club.
Well, I they want us to be deceived.
Well, you are doing that. It's not what they stand to gain, it's what they stand to lose.
Oh, no, I want a deeper answer. Why? Why are we the select few? What's so special about us?
There's always going to be people that go against the grain. The critical thinking, when we spread it, it affects other people. And yeah, it doesn't work on everybody. Probably like your girlfriend. Well, if she ever brings up the Dunning-Kruger effect, then, just...
Last one she said I was a victim of. I was like,
are you serious?
Yeah.
Oh, what a coincidence.
All right.
Just gaslighting me? Yeah, anyways, thank you.
Now let's take a look as Tyler Oliveira heads outside and starts talking to some of these fake flat earthers. This guy here, of course, with the white coat, like the lab coat. Give me a break. These are all just part of the act. Let's get right to it.
Schooling you to follow the earth. If you're already free from gravity and the earth is
So anyway.
if you're already free, you came here for one reason.
What was that?
Another actor here. Again, this is just a pantomime, all part of the theater that has taken place. Make no mistake about it.
And not learn nothing.
I'm learning. What are you talking about?
Did you learn anything?
Wait, what if I didn't?
That means that you're here for an agenda.
Just
answer my question. Listen, bro, concentrate.
Yeah, okay, sorry.
Just concentrate, all right?
So let's cut to the chase here. This guy goes back in, he gets the microphone again. And remember, he spent 2 days with Dave.
As usual.
The less the flat earth made sense.
Tyler, I believe that you're actually looking for the truth.
I am. It's hard to understand.
Yeah, David Weiss really believes Tyler's looking for the truth. Again, David Weiss, part of the act. What a complete joke he is. And here's the part where Tyler Oliveira, of course, comes out just like Logan Paul and basically admits he's just trolling. Let's get right to it.
I got a question. Okay, so I just want to say great presentation, by the way. And secondly, I came here initially as a flat earther, but after talking to all of you, more particularly the ginger, who said I looked like if DITRH was a person, I want to give him a shout out. I've come to conclude that the earth is a sphere. I will give anyone $1,000 right now outside if you can prove me wrong. Yeah. $1,000. $1,000. I'll walk home on the flat earth. I'm trolling. I'm not trolling.
What are you doing here?
What the hell are you doing here?
There's a mountain of evidence.
Yeah, let's hear it.
You don't see it, you're blind. Not everybody's got the mental capacity to really see it.
So wait, hold on. You were a flat earther, but now you're not? That doesn't make any sense.
Absolutely does. Can't prove a closed mind. Right. I was going to let you pass, but that was kind of a crazy move you did in there to get some good footage in your video. Are you going to end with where they can find more information, or are you going to leave that? All right, tell the viewers. If you want more information, go to flatearthdave.com. Don't believe anything that you heard in this video, from him or from me or from anybody else. Go verify it.
And there you go. Another example of David Weiss just looking for an avenue to push his app. Again, a fake earther, not a flat earther. He doesn't care. As long as you buy his app, doesn't matter what side of the fence you're on, he's a happy camper. And that's what it all comes down to. People need to understand the controlling both sides of the coin. And I do appreciate Jeffrey Daugherty's commentary during my video. But one thing I should mention about David Weiss in this entire debacle with Tyler Oliveira is, in reality, if this was a real situation, a real life situation, you kick this guy out. You say, what are you doing? You came here to sabotage our conference. There's a lot of people trying to understand and get the flat earth truth, and you basically made a mockery of it. Get out of here. And he doesn't do that because David Weiss is, of course, only concerned about selling his app. It's all about the money.
That the flat earth movement has become the Kardashians. It's become a scripted reality show, and anybody with an ounce of integrity would be saying, hasta la vista, baby, because it's nonsense. It's nonsense. But let me see, has the flat earth movement become nothing more than a psyop? The rods say yes. Was everything that we saw on that video essentially scripted like reality TV? The rods say yes.
And after that live stream by Jeffrey Daugherty, he received a phone call from Jaron. In Jeffrey Daugherty's words, his phone was blown up because of what went down with my video and his support at Oktoberfest, which obviously Psyop Dave is here with Jeffrey Daugherty trying to do some damage control. not only once, but twice, David Weiss does 2 streams talking to Jeffrey Daugherty, trying to control the out-of-control situation when it comes to the nonsense, when it comes to the fake flat earth movement. Let's take a listen here to what David Weiss has to say.
I got 1,000 emails from people like, "You're a Freemason, how dare you?" And I'm like, where are you getting this from? And they're getting it from RV.
There you hear it, right there, from David Weiss. He stated he received 1,000 emails, approximately 1,000 emails. Who knows how many exactly, but I found it very interesting and very encouraging that people are questioning him. That's a lot of emails to receive. If he even gets half of that, 500 emails, if he gets that even, that's a great response. And I'm very, very happy with the response and people questioning Wimpy Weiss. Let's continue on here with Jeffrey Daugherty and Wimpy Weiss.
This looks like it's totally scripted. Why is David a part of it?
Exactly. And again, like I mentioned earlier, Jaron gave Jeffrey Daugherty the phone call, and David Weiss is here to do damage control. And unfortunately, it's just like Chipper Jones on Twitter. After he called out a certain event, he received a phone call to straighten out his act and say, "Oh, it was a mistake. I didn't mean that." And that's what Jeffrey Daugherty is doing here now. Jeffrey Daugherty, I'm sure, had a very firm phone call from Jaron to do the exact opposite, take a different stance, do a complete 180 from that live stream. Let's take a listen.
Glad to have you.
Thanks for having me, Jeff. This is going to be an interesting conversation.
Now, I'm going to stop right there. Really important. I need to mention this. During this whole entire live stream, after Jeffrey Daugherty's live stream, David Weiss refers to Jeffrey Daugherty as his, quote, and I'll say it kindly, his challenged brother. But David Weiss is not so polite in saying that. David Weiss goes on to Jeffrey Daugherty's platform and insults him the whole entire time. He says this multiple times, basically calling him, and again, I'm saying it nicely, politely, his, quote, challenged brother in Jeffrey Daugherty. Let's take a listen, and I have that part cut out, but you'll understand what is taking place here, what David Weiss is calling Jeffrey Daugherty.
I consider you, I love you like a retard brother.
Obviously, a slap in the face of Jeffrey Daugherty and to his large followers. Not very polite at all to come on his channel and treat him that way. Let's continue with another example of the same. Take a listen.
I felt, you're like my retard brother, and I figured might as well do it with you.
Now you're going to hear David Weiss basically brag about how there were no Christian presenters during the Flat Earth meetup. Take a listen here, and this is clear what the whole agenda is about.
Christians have not taken over. Matter of fact, there wasn't a single Christian presentation or anything at the conference.
Now that gets this interview. I've covered Stu Peters before in a previous video, and I'm going to take back a little bit what I said about him, because he says something very powerful here about Jesus Christ. And David Weiss, again, pushing the anti-Jesus agenda on Stu Peters here, but Stu Peters puts his foot down. And again, Stu Peters really raised a point with me, what he says here to David Weiss. Take a listen.
You don't need it. If you're not a biblical person, you don't need that.
Yes, you do need it. And you better get to be, and you better get to know Jesus, because the Bible actually says, God actually says there's a firmament, water above, water below. He references that the earth is flat.
So look at that goofball, Wimpy Weiss, and his face he's making here. Again, he's during his presentations, first time with Stu Peters, and he's trying to push people away from God and the Bible, and of course Jesus Christ as well, as we've seen many times over the years with David Weiss. And now David Weiss gets in the part with this conversation, of course scripted, with Logan Paul, and he tries to defend it. Let's take a listen.
Remembering little things in the video where when I was talking to Logan Paul, scripted, I literally I didn't even know who Logan Paul was. I walked up, I'm watching him interview somebody else. They're like, "Hey, would you talk to Logan?" I'm like, "Sure." And I went up and I said the pictures and face thing, and Logan goes, "I don't have a picture of my intestines. Does that mean they don't exist?" And I kind of was laughing for a second, and then I gave a freaking great answer, but RV stops the video and goes, "Look, he doesn't."
That's not true at all. I played the whole entire video, and it doesn't show up in Logan Paul's documentary, of course. Let's take a listen right here, and you'll see I did not cut anything out. So David Weiss, once again, telling lies.
We don't even have a real picture of the globe. So I don't have a picture of my intestines, but I know they exist.
So it continues from that point. Nothing was cut out. And David Weiss knows it. It just goes to this one female at this one booth during the Flat Earth Conference. Let's continue on here. And here's another lie by David Weiss. Take a listen here as he tries to convince Jeffrey Daugherty about the whole pushing of other lands, saying it was Tyler Oliveira's question that he's addressing. He's not pushing it. But let's take a listen here. You're going to see the contradictions. And again, I said it many times. Liars can't keep their lies straight. Let's get right to it.
Well, that's off limits. He goes, well, what's beyond the ice wall? And I explained, well, it's not an ice wall. It's the shoreline of Antarctica.
At no point does Tyler Oliveira ask what's beyond the ice wall. Never. Didn't happen. Didn't take place. But this is where, again, David Weiss likes to fabricate things to defend his so-called position. Let's get right to it.
Antarctica, on average, has the highest land on Earth. It's containment of our water. I explained all of that. He goes, well, what's beyond it? And then
he never says that. Tyler never says what's beyond the ice wall. David Weiss is pushing other lands with zero evidence.
Peninsula is bigger than many countries, and they'll show you some ice and some penguins, but no one's independently allowed to explore beyond it. What's beyond it? I don't know. Early 1900s, they were talking about more land beyond Antarctica. What about this?
Whoa.
This makes sense. What if we lived here? What if this is where we lived? Right there. These are other ponds with their own sun.
And again, at no point does Tyler Oliver ask him what's beyond the ice wall. David Weiss is pushing it, as he always does during his presentations. And now let's take a listen to this ridiculous statement by David Weiss claiming how the other lands beyond the ice wall is waking people up. Absolutely ridiculous.
By the way, the outer lands wake up a lot of people to the reality of flat Earth.
And that makes absolutely no sense. How does something unproven prove the flat Earth? Does this guy even listen to what he says? Unbelievable. Listen to this statement by David Weiss claiming he's working on his own volition, doing this all on his own.
I had somebody telling me what to do. I have to do all this myself. I do everything myself.
That's incorrect. I know for a fact David Weiss has a handler, someone setting up all of his interviews. That's why he's getting these big connections with these big names. David Weiss, 100% PSYOP. He's not a real flat earther. People need to understand that. And while David Weiss constantly talks about how they're trying to hide other land, the reality is this: the controllers of this world are trying to hide God. And that's what it all comes down to, but he will never tell you that.